Let's get peppy. Welcome to Ep116. I am Chaz the Chadello, and this is
Dr. David Smith
from
the United States Studies Centre at the University of Sydney.
And your disclaimer is?
I do not speak on behalf of either of those organisations. These are my own views.
Thank you very much. And I am from Planet America. As always, Planet America is on Friday nights. You can see it on Facebook or iView or YouTube. And we're just on air just now. And we talked a lot about the indictment. There's going to be a slight bit of overlap, unfortunately. I try to avoid overlap where I possibly
98
can.
pages of overlap.
Yes. There's a little bit. I try to avoid overlap where I possibly can, but so there's other stuff on Planet America you should see, which I do not mention on this podcast. A bit of a thank you to the algorithm guys. I never mention them when I thank the algorithm guys. They're the guys who are on YouTube just to boost our engagement, so that our search, so we're promoted higher up the search list. They just write algorithm in the comments. I like that. It's nice. It warms my heart every time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, algorithm guys.
Wow.
Thanks to the people who subscribe. I've never thanked those people before.
Okay.
Apparently that's good.
Thank you.
I don't know why that's good, but thanks to the people who subscribe.
Okay.
That might be an engagement thing as well. Although apparently, according to one of our subscribers, it takes 2 weeks for YouTube to tell them that we exist after we came back. So maybe subscription sucks. Anyway, subscribe if you can. I promise I won't spam you. I don't spam ever on social media. I don't spam any. In fact, on Twitter, I haven't updated it for 3 weeks, even though we've had 4 podcasts. So I'm the opposite of spamming.
There you go.
I really should do more posting. So, but I'm going to fix that, and I promise you I won't spam you. So subscribe, and apparently it helps us. Let's get straight into the fourth indictment.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to start off, and then I'll fill in gaps?
Look, I would love to see someone do, maybe as a PhD dissertation, a comparative literature analysis between the federal indictment and the Georgia indictment. I just think that they're both fascinating in terms of their prose style. And I think that we do have to take into account that these are not just legal documents. These are documents for public consumption.
Yes.
Like they would know that they're going to be read by a very wide range of people. One of the things that really struck me about the way that the Georgia indictment is written is that there is something almost liturgical about it. So if you think of religious services where there's this sort of call and response thing, every sentence, this was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. It sounds like there should be either a choir saying it or the congregation. This is what they repeat back to. Now, I know that this is the legal form that it has to take, but nonetheless, that really struck me while I was
There's
reading
a bit of and also with you.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and when you're reading it, at least when I was reading it, you're sort of reading it going, overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. Yeah. Oh, this is an act of what's the phrase they use? This is an act of racketeering activity or something. Oh, that's the one.
But regardless of its purpose or why it's there, it gives it this real rhythm that drives it along.
Yeah. Actually, I should talk about the act of racketeering activity because I think this is not something that's been communicated very well.
It hasn't been communicated well at all. And when I was reading this, as much as I was enjoying it, as soon as I got to the bits about this tweet saying, turn on OANN because, Rudy Giuliani's on, this is an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. Yeah. I knew as soon as I read that the Republican line of attack was going to be, so telling people to watch TV is illegal now, is it? Yeah. Like you could tell where that was going. And I don't think, Fani Willis tried to explain it very briefly at this press conference, saying, okay, not every act that is mentioned, such as a tweet, is a criminal act in isolation. It's something that when it all comes together in furtherance of a conspiracy is criminal, but I still think that there's some explaining to be done.
And I'm going to do it right now. And by the way, just a little aside before I do that explaining.
Yes.
While it's not a crime, I think it should be a crime to recommend someone to watch One American News.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
I do support that.
Yeah.
But
Put that in your statutes now.
Okay, so let me just get straight to it. This is some of the overlap with Plain America because I'm making a point of trying to explain this as much as I can because no one else is.
You're doing the Lord's work, Chaz.
Thank you. How does racketeering work in Georgia? Because it's different in Georgia to anywhere else. Georgia happens to be the worst place in America to commit racketeering.
Oh, no.
So Trump chose poorly in that respect.
Didn't his lawyers warn him about that?
Yeah, they probably did. And that.
Oh, wait, they're not real lawyers.
And even if they were, he wouldn't listen to them. Okay, first of all, it's kind of like a conspiracy racketeering, essentially. Yes. It's like a specialized form of conspiracy where there's some elements you need to prove. First of all, you need to prove it's a criminal enterprise, that all these people belong to a single enterprise.
Yes.
Not the Starship Enterprise, although you can be a criminal on the Starship Enterprise.
It is funny because it keeps referring to the Enterprise.
Yes, it does. It does.
Well, look, there are just so many things that make this a delightful document to read.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of conflicting views out there about how easy it is to prove a criminal enterprise. Everyone's an expert on RICO all of a sudden.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know what's true and what's not. But
I was by Act 21.
Yes, yeah, that was the One American News Network one, I think. Anyway, it like on first blush you'd think that'd be a difficult thing to prove when you're not talking about gangsters or mobsters, but they do prove it. Like right now in Georgia, Fannie Willis is in the middle of a 10-year RICO case with teachers.
Yes.
Like where teachers were cheating on standardized tests.
Yes, or organising cheating on standardized tests.
And she demonstrated she is in the process of demonstrating they are a criminal enterprise. So it can be done. Admittedly as well, remember this is going to a jury. So the jury might not be into splitting hairs about this kind of stuff.
No, they might not be.
Like as much as I like to. But essentially, if you have a group of people who are all pursuing the same criminal goal. Yes. That essentially seems to be an enterprise, okay? The goal here is obviously to flip the election.
Yes.
Okay, so for what's worth in the indictment, this is what Willis writes. The enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members and associates functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the enterprise. I think I said it better when I said just a bunch of people pursuing the same criminal goal. But anyway, so that's an enterprise. I think they can do that pretty easily. Yes. I think it's pretty clear that they're all pursuing the same goal.
Yes.
Okay. Then you need a pattern of racketeering activity. And a pattern in Georgia means two.
Yes.
You can show two acts, they call them predicate acts or qualifying crimes, that occurred over a 4-year period, within a 4-year period. That have similar intent and are on a list. They've got a list of qualifying crimes. If you can find 2 crimes on that list, happen within a 4-year period and have similar intent, bang. That's racketeer as a pattern of racketeering activity.
Yep.
Now, once again, Georgia is a bad state to commit racketeering in because the national list is 35 crimes. In Georgia, it's 65 crimes.
Yes.
And it includes some doozies like false statements and writing.
Oh, no.
That's on Georgia's list, which is, you might call it the Trump killer.
Yeah.
the law, that one. The phrase false statement occurs more than 100 times in this indictment. And that's why.
Georgia has really gone further than anyone else in criminalizing lying.
Yes.
When you lie in the context of government, basically.
Yes.
Then you are in trouble.
The quote from the legislation is a false, fictitious or fraudulent statement or representation in any matter within the jurisdiction of any department or agency of state government. So it has to be in their area.
Yep.
It has to be in their official area. But yes, you're going to hear about free speech. There ain't no free speech when it comes to false statements and writings in Georgia.
I feel like they should have big PSA warnings about this.
Yeah, well, when
false,
on the plane,
fictitious, fraudulent, fucked.
I'm going to put that in the blurb. False, fictitious, fraudulent, fucked. Lovely.
Seriously, more people should hire me to write their PSA copy.
I would like to see that on my Virgin flight, let me tell you. So let's talk about the acts, because there are 34 acts that are listed in the indictment. I noted every single one of them.
Okay.
So these are qualifying. These acts, if they can prove 2 of these 34 acts, then you got racketeering.
Oh dear.
Done. Okay.
Yep.
I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll just start with the with the weakest acts, which is what you described.
Yes, telling people to watch TV on Twitter.
Exactly. And there are 161 different overt acts in furtherance of the conspiracy, which I mentioned. Not crimes, as you said, not crimes.
No.
Okay? So if you're a terrorist, buying fertilizer would end up listed as an overt act. Buying fertilizer is not a crime, but it is a step you take in the furtherance of your criminal goal.
Yes.
Okay, so we understand that. This is my own definition. A step you take in furtherance of a criminal goal.
Yep.
So Charlie Kirk, you can fuck off.
Yeah,
like Charlie Kirk's been tweeting endlessly about things that are now banned in Georgia. Yeah, etc. Watching TV is banned in Georgia, etc. It was Act 22. That was the One American News Network. I made note of it. Trump. Let me quote Trump in this act. Georgia hearings now on One American News Network. Amazing.
So calling something amazing is criminal now.
Okay, so let's talk about the 34 acts.
Okay.
There are 5 main areas that these acts fall in. Trump trying to cajole Georgia officials to change the outcome with lobbying and a blizzard of bullshit. That's the Parliament. That's Raffensperger. All those guys, right? Trying to get Georgia legislature to replace the real electors with his fake electors.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. Getting the Justice Department to try and convince Georgia to change their result or to take the fake electors.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, the intimidation and manipulation of Ruby Freeman, who was a new entry to the indictments, and the stealing of voter data from Coffee County, which is definitely a new entry as well. And they're both important entries.
Yes.
And we're going to be getting to them real soon. You know about the first 3 from the Jack Smith indictment, so let's start with 4 and 5, Ruby Freeman and Coffee County.
Let's do it.
Okay. Do you want to talk to Ruby Freeman first, or do you want me to tell the story?
No, I want you to tell the story.
All right, okay. Now, you might recall Ruby Freeman and her daughter, Shay Moss, from the January 6th committee. They were caught on video, supposedly committing some kind of fraud, according to Rudy Giuliani.
Yes.
He said they were, quote, passing around USB ports as if they are vials of heroin or cocaine. Would you pass around anything? Would you pass around a vial of heroin or cocaine? I'd probably use it if I had a vial of heroin or cocaine. I was a druggie.
Yeah, no, but look, I don't know what Rudy Giuliani's experiences are in this area. I can imagine.
I feel like he's more of an expert than me.
I can imagine him passing it around and saying, "Look at this."
I feel like I should defer to Rudy Giuliani when it comes to vials of any kind of substance. But anyway, he said they were used to, quote, infiltrate the crooked Dominion voting machines. And he went on and on about it, even though the video was obviously nothing. Turned out those USB ports, they were passing around like vials of heroin or cocaine. They're actually passing around like candy because they were candy. And he's since, remember, admitted in court, I'm going to quote this over and over again, to the extent the statements were statements of fact and otherwise actionable, such actionable factual statements were false. Let's not forget that. That's going to become very relevant.
It sounds like something from Dr. Seuss.
Yes. Yeah, so he's admitted to lying, okay? Yeah. All right, so there's those videos. That's Ruby Freeman. Okay, there was a huge pile-on of crazies outside her door.
There was, yes.
For weeks and weeks and weeks afterwards, harassing her. In mid-December, a retired police officer and chaplain, Stephen Lee, visited her. He visited her twice in 2 days. First day, knocked on the door, no answer. Second day, knocked on the door, then talked to a neighbor. He said he was there to help her and that she was in grave danger. He said to the neighbor, she didn't answer. Ruby Freeman has solid instincts, I feel.
Yes.
And her instincts became even more solid because then this Lee guy recruited Trump's black outreach guy, Harrison Floyd.
Oh, yes.
Harrison Floyd, that's important coming up, who recruited a publicist from Kanye, Trevian Kuti.
Yes.
I don't know if Kanye is involved in that.
So Harrison Floyd, he is, he's the one who runs Blacks for Trump?
Yes.
Okay, so Blacks for Trump is an organisation. If you watched rallies at all in 2016, you would have seen these Blacks for Trump signs or Blacks for Trump T-shirts, often being worn or held by white people, but that's irrelevant. He was, he was the organizer of Blacks for Trump.
Yeah, and then he got the Kanye publicist involved. What could go wrong? Kanye has such excellent publicity.
Absolutely.
He's known for his great PR.
Yes, extraordinary interview opportunities.
Anyway, in January 2021, Floyd and Cuddy began repeatedly calling and texting Freeman. That's the way to get her attention. And then Cuddy showed up at night, 8:30 at night, on January 4th, saying that Freeman was in danger and that Cootie was trying to help her. Now, Freeman agreed to see her. You might think that's not good instincts.
No.
But the solid instincts was, but she immediately asked a police officer to attend.
Yes.
That's very, very good instincts.
Yes.
So that means she has an independent witness for everything. According to the police report, Cuddy said she'd been sent by quite a high-profile individual and that because of the election, Freeman was in danger and had just 48 hours, this is on January 4, to get ahead of the issue before someone that she wouldn't name showed up at Freeman's home. All she needed to do was apparently confess to election fraud. That was it. And she'll be free. The police officer suggested they move their conversation back to the police station. And Cuddy, being a very smart lady, said, yes, let's do that. They then put Floyd on the speakerphone. And remember I said it was important, he's Harrison Floyd. They referred to him as Harrison Ford. And they kept on going. Now, Harrison Ford was very interested in election fraud, it seems, when he wasn't making Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford was introduced as someone who, quote, had authoritative powers to get you protection. He would. He's Harrison Ford. But he then took over and he tried to get Freeman to confess to election rigging. Cuddy repeatedly told Freeman, quote, if you don't tell everything, you're going to jail.
Wow.
Cuddy also said...
Is it in a police station?
In a police station, presumably while being recorded, because it's a police station. Cuddy also said, you are a loose end for a party that needs to tidy up. Because, yeah, it was the Democrats who were threatening her, not the crazies outside her house. Now, Floyd has since said he was trying to help. He was trying to arrange an immunity deal, he said. Some would say... Obviously, you can only get an immunity deal if you commit a crime, though. And some would say he was trying to bully her into a false confession.
I would say that's exactly what he was trying to do.
I should also note that while this was happening,
Yes.
there were plenty of calls between Cuddy and Floyd and Robert Cheerley, who is a Trump team lawyer, which ties these actions to the racket.
God.
So that's when this becomes part of the racketeering, right?
We've got to reconsider the use of the word lawyer. But anyway, yeah.
So Lee, Floyd, and Cuddy were then charged with solicitation of false statements and influencing witnesses. All of their conduct has an independent witness. A lot of it is recorded. And now it's hard to say how these guys avoid influencing witnesses charges. They're clearly trying to influence a witness.
Yes.
Even if at the beginning they did believe
that
that she was guilty.
Yeah.
I'm sure she denied it a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
And them acting like a dollar store Sipowicz from NYPD Blue,
Yes.
when they're not a police officer,
Yes.
suggests they were trying to influence a witness.
Absolutely.
So they are in real
it doesn't
fucking
matter what
strife.
they believed. They were. Yeah.
So this is not an intense situation here.
Yes.
They are in strife. We'll come back to them in a second. So that's Ruby Freeman. Do you have anything to say about Ruby Freeman before I go to Coffee County?
I think you've said it all very well.
Okay. Coffee County, January 7. This is the day after January 6. Scott Hall, a Georgia bail bondsman working with Trump's team, and he's also working with Sidney Powell's group. He flew to Coffee County, and the county GOP chair, Kathy Latham, who was also a fake elector, and the county elections supervisor, Misty Hampton, arranged for Hall to access the county's Dominion election equipment. So Misty Hampton was in a position of authority, but she arranged for him to have access to the Dominion files when she shouldn't have. All right? And then he copied all the data without permission. There's both video evidence of this and also text messages and emails of them talking to each other and communicating with members of Trump's team. And the data was sent to Trump's team. So once again, that ties it to the racket.
Yes.
So, and the thing is, the way racketeering works, Trump might have had zero to do with both these scenarios.
Yep.
Maybe Trump didn't even know about Ruby Freeman and Coffee County, but the fact that he's part of the same racket as they are means they all go to jail together.
Yes.
Right. So if you can get 2 counts out of all the things I'm talking about, they are all in trouble if they're part of the racket. Okay. Now, Willis charged Powell, Hall, Latham, and Hampton with interference with elections, unlawful possession of ballots, computer theft, computer trespass, computer invasion of privacy, and conspiracy to defraud the state. A lot of those charges are considered racketeering activity.
Yep.
They get to racketeering, a pattern of racketeering activity from that alone.
Yes.
And also from Ruby Freeman alone.
Yes.
With nothing else. And that's why these two are so essential, because they've both got heaps of evidence.
Yes.
And they alone get you a guilty verdict.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk the strongest acts overall, because there's a bunch of them. Generally, I'm not so wild about the false statements and writings, because you always have to prove intent with false statements. And there's one or two where I think they'll be able to.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, I mean, they might be able to. I don't know.
Yeah.
She just says X. Kenny Chesbro.
Yeah.
I wish it was Cheesebro. Apparently it's Chesbro. Oh. Kenny Chesbro apparently said false statements to the Georgia Senate. We don't know what evidence she has that he knew it was false. Right. So those ones I'm not so wild on, but they don't need them. It's there's perjury there. That the special purpose grand jury recommended prosecutors pursue perjury in at least one case. So that's probably a strong case. But the electors themselves, I'm not sure that's a strong case. They've got the electors committing impersonating a public officer.
Yes.
That's when they were posing as electors. That's a potential racketeering activity. But we talked about this with the January 6th indictment. Maybe they can demonstrate those guys were misled. Remember, that's part of the January 6th indictment. They're intentionally misleading the fake electors.
Yes.
So if they were misled into thinking they were doing something legit when they weren't, then they're not guilty. You need to prove intent.
Yes.
So that one I don't think so strong. The perfect call. You need to prove Trump's intent on that one as well. He's been charged with solicitation of violation of oath by public officer. That's of Raffensperger. Yeah. And false statements and writings again. You need to prove intent. I don't know if they can or they can't. You might be able to. I don't know. That one I think is not so strong. Okay, then we get to the more stronger ones. There's a false statement in writing from Giuliani where he said, the false statement is that he said that Ruby Freeman, Shay Moss, and an unidentified man were quite obviously surreptitiously passing around USB ports as if they're vials of heroin or cocaine, he said. And they were trying to infiltrate the crooked Dominion voting machines. That quote I read you before was what he said to the Georgia House of Reps.
Yes.
So if that's false, and he knows it's false, and he's admitted that it's false in court, then that's racketeering activity. Yep. So that's a pretty strong one.
That's a good one.
That's the fake electors, while they themselves may get off, the people who solicited them will not get off.
Well, surely, if the fake electors get off for the reasons you mentioned, then the people who solicited them can't get off.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And Act 42 is that. They've charged a bunch of people, including Trump, with unlawfully soliciting, requesting, importuning the Speaker of the Georgia House of Representatives, David Ralston, by calling a special session of the Georgia General Assembly for the purpose of unlawfully appointing presidential electors from Georgia, as in trying to get him to seat them.
Yes,
yeah. And that's on tape.
Right, yes.
Yeah, so that's Trump on tape.
Yes.
So that's a problem for Trump.
Yeah.
They also have, and the intent is obviously provable because of the December memo saying that they were intentionally going to mislead people.
Yes.
Also intent, Act 72, Chesbro sent an email that said that Giuliani, quote, wants to keep this quiet until after all the voting is done.
Yeah.
Talking about the fake electors.
Yes.
Why would they want to keep it quiet until all the voting is done if it's legitimate?
Yes.
That's intent. That shows a dishonest purpose. And so I think that's a very strong case. And that's another act right there of racketeering activity. Filing false documents. This is the one where Trump and Eastman signed that lawsuit.
Yep.
After Eastman had specifically said that some of the allegations in the verified complaint were not accurate.
Yes.
I don't know if Trump will be found guilty. I think Eastman will. Because Eastman signed it after he said it was inaccurate. That's a predicate for racketeering. Yeah. Thank you, Eastman. Then you got Jeff Clark, who has been charged with false statements. He wrote that the U.S. Department of Justice had, quote, identified significant concerns that may have impacted the outcome of the election in multiple states, including the state of Georgia. He knew that was untrue. The Department of Justice have found no such thing. We know he knew that because he tried to blackmail them to sign that, and Trump was bitching about them not believing that. Yes. So that's very much proven.
Is the fact that the letter was never sent going to help him? Because that's what his lawyers are arguing.
I don't think it is.
I didn't think so either. It was still written.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but that's a predicate for racketeering.
Yeah.
Then we got Ruby Freeman. There are so many charges in the Ruby Freeman situation, and mostly involving solicitation of false statements and writings and influencing witnesses. It's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
Right? So they're all going to be racketeering activity.
Yes,
Coffee County. There's a million of charges here. There's interference with primaries and elections, unlawful possession of ballots, conspiracy to defraud the state, computer theft, computer trespass. They're all predicates for racketeering.
Yep.
So we got enough.
Yes.
Right? And these are all pretty strong.
Yeah.
So in summary, I think if this goes to court.
Yes.
And you'll see why I say if.
Yes.
If this goes to court and if they have their day in court, I do not see how there is a not guilty verdict at the end of this.
I absolutely agree.
And it doesn't mean Trump's necessarily going to jail because it can be probation.
Yes.
But man, he's been nailed with a lot here.
Yes. Well, okay. So there are a few things that I want to mention here. First of all, about this issue of prison, I'm quite convinced by the analysis I've read that says he's unlikely ever to see the inside of a prison because of the fact that the president is entitled to Secret Service protection under the law. And I don't see anybody fighting that. I think that the view of people who are sentencing him is going to be, politically and socially, just the complications of imprisoning a former president who's still got a very large popular following, even though it happens in other countries and it has happened in states in the United States. I don't see it happening in this case. And the fact that he would require Secret Service protection and that couldn't practically happen, I think that gives them the reason that they need to say, no, we're not going to put him in prison.
If you have an option of only 2 things, either the president being in solitary confinement for the rest of his life, or the president being murdered in jail, neither of them are good options.
No, they're not. They're not. And so I agree with the analysis that says he's unlikely ever to go to prison. Second thing is, so after the federal indictment, it was immediately clear that the 2 avenues that Trump's lawyers were going to follow were, first of all, saying free speech, free speech, free speech. This is all just political speech. And second, saying that he was following legal counsel. I think that this indictment makes both of them a lot harder to use.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just even more clear in this case that so much of the speech that they're talking about was not just protected First Amendment political speech or petition for redress of grievances. Like, this just makes it so clear exactly how all of the plan worked and how every one of these acts, no matter how trivial they were, was related to the conspiracy. It shows how infantile the free speech defense is. In terms of the just following legal counsel speech, it needs to be continually pointed out. The reason why Trump was surrounded by people like Giuliani and Eastman and Sidney Powell was because all of his actual lawyers had said no. All of his actual lawyers had said, you've lost the election. We're not going to go through with any more of this stuff. And so they were gotten rid of and they were replaced by lawyers who had already been mouthing off on Fox News about how the election was stolen from Mr. Trump and they had a plan to get it back. So the idea that, he was just following legal counsel. No. He chose legal counsel that was actually people with a political plan. He wasn't just following counsel.
But another thing as well is with these defenses, they're talking about the things that he did.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
With racketeering, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
If you are part of the enterprise,
yes,
you can get busted for what other people have done.
Exactly right.
So you can say I was following orders and following advice all you like.
Yes.
But if you are part of a racket, then you are getting 5 years, a 5-year sentence.
And as I understand it, the reason why they have these kinds of statutes is because of the complaint that is always made, which is that gang leaders never get caught. Right? Gang leaders always get off because they don't do anything themselves. They keep their hands clean. This is why this statute exists. Yeah. Well, what else was I going to say? Oh, the other thing that was amazing about this is the use of the word importune.
Yeah.
You know the last time I saw that?
When was that?
You may or may not know. Queen Elizabeth I wrote poetry.
I did not know that.
Yeah. She wrote poetry, and like it's not considered really distinguished poetry, but it's quite remarkable that like the serving Queen of England wrote it. She was a very, maybe not a significant poet, but a very, very significant queen.
She was.
So I'll just read the first stanza of When I Was Fair and Young. When I was fair and young, then favour graced me. Of many was I sought their mistress for to be. But I did scorn them all, and answered them therefore. Go, 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 seek some other where, importune me no more.
Wow.
That was the last time I read the word importune.
I can't believe you remember that.
Now it reappears in the beautiful Elizabethan language of the Georgia Indictment.
Wow. I can't believe your memory. It's astounding. Any other thoughts? I can keep on going. But you got the other thoughts? I'm just flicking through your thing about things which I won't say because I don't want to spend this whole podcast talking about this.
Yeah. I think we've already spent 3/4 of an hour on this.
We have. Look, there's a couple of things I do have to say just briefly. Okay, because I do need to tie up the loose end when I said if this.
The loose end.
If this goes to trial.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We do need to get to that.
Because there's a few threats here.
Yes.
Once again, because everyone's an expert on RICO, I don't know what's true and what's not.
Okay.
Like I've seen different people say different things.
Yep.
All right. But there is definitely going to be a move to remove the charges to federal court.
Yes.
Now, a defendant can remove a case to federal court if they're an officer of the United States and if the prosecution is for or relating to any act under colour of such offence.
Yes.
What does colour of such offence mean? It means the individual is acting within their official capacity and authority as a federal officer.
Yes. And Mark Meadows has already
suggested
petitioned it because he was Trump's chief of staff.
Yes.
And his lawyers are saying everything that he was doing was just in his capacity as chief of staff. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, in Mark Meadows' case,
yes,
I think that. Well, I'll read you the quote, and I'll tell you that they said that nothing he's alleged in the indictment to have done is criminal per se. Arranging Oval Office meetings, contacting state officials on the president's behalf, visiting a state government building, and setting up a phone call for the president. They are the total things he has done in this indictment. One would expect the chief of staff to the president of the United States to do these sorts of things, they say.
Yes.
I think that's true.
I definitely think this is more available to Mark Meadows than it is to anybody else, including Trump himself.
Well, I was going to say, there's one exception to this.
What?
We don't know what he said on the Raffensperger call. We know he was on the Raffensperger call.
Yes.
If he was just saying, hello, Mr. Raffensperger, I'd like to introduce you to the president, that's fine. That's him doing his capacity.
Yes.
If he's saying, come on, Raff, come on, 11,000 votes, then that's not his capacity as the chief of staff.
Right.
Okay, so we don't know what he said. No one said what he said. We just know he's there.
Yes.
His voice is there on the call. That's all we know. So subject to that, assuming he wasn't part of the squeeze on the phone call, then I think he does belong in the federal court, to be honest.
Yes.
So we'll see on that particular score. Now that's fine for him.
Yes.
The first question you ask then is he severable from the rest of the case? Because if he's not severable from the rest of the case, then the entire case moves to the federal court.
Oh, really?
Yes. He is severable from the rest of the case. So I don't think that's a real issue.
Yes.
I think he's going to end up getting off, basically.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
There's speculation that he's flipped.
Yeah. Yeah, there is, especially from Trump supporters.
Yes.
Now, can Trump do this is the question, because he's going to try.
Of course he's going to try.
He is an officer of...
And his allies are going to be on Fox News saying he's the president, he was just trying to do his thing.
And this is where different people have different views. Okay? Not every right-winger, not everyone who says that he might be able to do this is a right-winger. The different people have different views. What I think, and I am so uninformed in this area, but what I personally think, just from reading the legislation, I don't think he'll be able to do it.
No.
And the reason why I don't think he'll be able to do it is because I can't see how he could possibly say that what he was doing here was in the course of his duty.
Absolutely.
Not because it's corrupt. That's intent.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The reason it's not part of his duty is because it's about the presidential election.
Absolutely. Yes.
And that's a state issue.
It is part of his campaign.
He didn't mention once a Senate election or a
No.
House election.
No.
Their federal responsibilities.
Yes.
the presidential election is a state-by-state election.
Absolutely.
It's state responsibilities.
Yes.
So Georgia is in charge of the presidential election,
Yep.
not the president.
Yes.
And so for that reason, I think this is way out of his lane.
Yeah.
And so
I think this is probably something that the prosecutors thought through pretty carefully before they brought these charges.
Probably, yeah. Okay, but maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong and it goes to the federal court, then I don't know what that means. I'll be honest. I've been trying to find that out. Like I know
what it means is that they get a jury pool from northern Georgia, which is going to be considerably more politically friendly to Trump than a Fulton County jury pool.
And I'll probably get a Trump-appointed judge as well.
Yes.
Because he appointed a lot of federal judges.
Yes.
That's true as well. But what I don't know is what that means for the rules they are under. Are they using the Georgia list of qualifying crimes or the federal list of qualifying crimes?
Question.
I don't know that. I also don't know if you can be federally pardoned after you've gone to federal court, which it might be relevant.
Right.
So these are things I don't know, which I've been trying to find out, and I can't get to the bottom of it.
By the way, on the question of pardons, I know some of you will have questions about, so we've all heard if Trump gets convicted in Georgia, then he certainly can't pardon himself. Another Republican president can't pardon him. But you might be thinking, but Georgia usually has Republican governors. Couldn't they pardon him? The answer is actually no.
That's right.
Georgia's pardon process is a lot more complicated than that. It relies on a state board, which I think can only actually pardon someone 5 years after the sentences have been completed.
Yes, and there's no pending charges as well.
Yeah. So
there's always pending charges against Trump.
Yes. So no, pardoning is not going to happen here.
Yeah. The issue though is, let's say it doesn't get removed to federal court.
Yep.
When does it go to trial at all? Because like I told you, that racketeering charge for the teachers is still going 10 years later.
Yes.
There's a young thug case at the moment, thug
Yeah.
in Georgia, where they spent 8 months selecting the jury. They still haven't selected the jury in 8 months.
Yes.
This is going to be a harder case to select the jury from
than
young thug, I would have thought.
Yes.
Right. So this could be, I've seen people say this is going to be 2026 at least. There's going to be way off. In the meantime, and she's also trying 19 defendants. So there's going to be motions for each of them and so forth. In the meantime, while that's happening, yes, Georgia does have their pardon law you talked about. There's a board that does it as well.
Yep.
There's also a board that can remove a prosecutor. They just passed a law just this year.
Yes.
It was meant to be going to effect in 2025, but they moved it back to go into effect in 2023. I wonder why. And this board can remove a prosecutor for, I got the quote here, for alleged misconduct by district attorneys and solicitors general. They move him for... it's not a good quote. I won't bother with that. But essentially, Kemp, I've seen a quote from him saying that it's for left-wing attorneys. It's for basically Soros DAs who are soft on crime, essentially, just making them do their job. Right?
Well, no one can accuse Fannie Willis of being soft on crime.
No, not this crime at least.
Yeah.
Not racketeering crime. No. But, anyway, could they come up with an excuse to sack her? It would be hard.
So what's the composition of this board?
They are appointed by the governor.
Right.
Yeah. But I think they are prosecutors.
Yeah.
They're a board of prosecutors. So
I don't know, but does Kemp actually want to appoint someone to get rid of Fannie Willis?
Well, he might. If this case is in 2027, he might not even be there.
Yeah.
So Kemp. I think you're pretty safe with Kemp.
Yes. Yeah.
But he's not Trump's friend.
Right. Yes.
But who knows who's going to replace Kemp?
Yeah.
But, Kemp is a very real possibility to be running for president next time round. So anyway, so that is a floating issue.
Yes.
Anyway, so just throw that out there. We don't know what's going to happen. It's a long way away, and Trump's going to try everything. I'm sure because as I said, this one is got a real guilty look about it. So he's going to try everything he can.
Yeah, and I think to summarize, I think a point that we've spent the last 3/4 of an hour making. This is the most serious set of charges.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
This is more serious than the federal charges in terms of the potential amount of punishment that it carries, in terms of the sheer number and detail involved in the charges, because of the fact that it's state criminal law rather than federal law, because of the fact that 18 other people are involved. It's by far the most serious set of charges, and that's why it's going to take the longest to sort out.
Absolutely. Although I continue to maintain if there was a Biden justice conspiracy like is alleged that Biden just runs every special counsel and runs It's like there's like the puppet master, the guy who can barely tie his shoes. It's the puppet master of the Department of Justice. If that existed, I would say to the Biden puppet master, just trash the rest, get the documents case in court tomorrow.
Yes.
Because that's the one where as long as you're president and Trump's not president, he's getting jail time for that.
Yes.
Like he is not getting away from that one. Apart from, like you said, he probably won't get jail time.
Yeah.
but he will be found guilty for sure in the documents case. The only thing that's going to stop it is if it happens after the next election and Trump is president.
Yeah.
But anyway, one more thing I'll just throw out there.
Yes.
Don't forget Jenna Ellis, who's been indicted in Georgia and she's not really a very important person. She's not involved in any racketeering activity.
Yes.
But she has no one to pay her legal fees. Because Trump's cut her off.
Wow.
Because she endorsed DeSantis. And now Rudy Giuliani...
There's a cautionary tale for everyone here.
There is. Rudy Giuliani is broke, but Trump threw a few $100,000 at him.
Yeah.
It's just that Rudy Giuliani's in so much legal trouble.
Yes, yeah.
Like he's run through that. Like Trump has in some way or another, his donors have in some way or another paid the legal fees of everyone else. Except for Jenna Ellis.
Yeah.
Who he's just screwed over.
By the way, if you're donating to Trump, which I know many of our listeners are, over the next few years, all of your donations are going to paying legal fees.
And to be honest, to be fair, a lot of them are happy with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jenna Ellis, we might hear from her again. The fact that she has a very minor charge, they'll be very happy to let her go if she flips.
Yes.
She was his lawyer.
Yeah.
She would have all kinds of documents and all kinds of knowledge.
Yes.
He's not paying her legal fees. That seems really stupid to me.
Yes.
He may come to regret that. Let's just remember Jenna Ellis.
Yes.
We might come back to her in a year or two.
Okay.
Anyway, that's enough of that, shall we?
Yes. Oh, can I just mention something about the federal case?
Yes,
which
please.
I read today.
There's more Trump indictment stuff coming.
Oh, there is.
So go federal case.
Well, okay, yes. So,
just not Georgia.
Yeah. So as we know, Jack Smith asked for a trial date that was at the beginning of January.
Yes.
Before the Iowa caucuses, even 2 weeks before the Iowa
January
caucuses.
January 2, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trump's lawyers have made their counteroffer today.
Oh, what's that?
2026.
January 2, 2026? Maybe that's a compromise.
Now, the reason that they've given is because Jack Smith's team have been admirably quick in handing over their discovery evidence. And the first tranche of it is apparently 11.6 million pages long.
Wow. That's a lot of Crimin.
Well, yeah. Yes. There's also apparently some electronic file of undefined length that is impossible to paginate. I believe the Washington Post gleefully reported that in order to finish the discovery work on this, Trump's legal team would need to read the equivalent of 72 copies of War and Peace every day before the trial begins.
That's hard when you can't read.
Now, okay. So I don't know how receptive Tanya Chutkan is going to be to this argument. That certainly is a lot of evidence. But I don't know. So maybe some of our listeners who are involved with the law can help us with this, though, because I seem to remember that all of this processing discovery documents, wasn't this one of the first white-collar jobs that was outsourced to AI? Like, I seem to remember, like 5 or maybe 10 years ago, people talking about the potential of AI to actually deal with all this work, which I think paralegals would usually be, sifting through billions of documents that are involved in cases. So maybe they just need to ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT, why is Mr. Trump innocent?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll give a very cogent and non-hallucinatory answer.
The best thing about using ChatGPT as your lawyer is he doesn't have to pay them.
Yes.
So it's a win-win for Trumpy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's...
Yeah. ChatGPT can't go to jail.
Oh, no.
ChatGPT can't flip on you because you won't pay its legal bills.
And it believes in freedom of speech. It's the perfect lawyer.
That's right.
Wow. That is It's
11.6 million
It
pages.
is a lot of pages. To be fair, it is a lot of pages. And that's the first tranche.
Do you think, you read a lot.
I do. I don't think I read 11.6 million pages.
You don't think you've read the equivalent of it?
I mean, I've read, couldn't land the joke because I forgot the guy's name.
Oh, no.
the Orban lover.
Rod Dreher.
Yeah, I've read some Rod
Dreher. Blog posts.
I've read some Rod Dreher blog posts.
Blog posts are
close to 11.6 million pages long.
Yeah.
See how good that joke would have been if I remember his name?
If only you'd nailed it.
Doesn't matter. That's all right. Okay, I want to just talk a little bit more about that indictment, an update on that indictment on contempt.
Yes.
Because we flagged this before. Contempt is becoming more and more of an issue.
Yes.
And I think it's about to become even more of an issue again.
Absolutely.
Because Trump is clearly not going to shut up.
No.
This is how he characterized the issue this week.
So this is all about election interference, but that isn't quite good enough. Crooked Joe now wants the thug prosecutor, this deranged guy, to file a court order taking away my First Amendment rights so that I can't speak. So listen to this. We don't want you to speak about the case. The case is a ridiculous case. It's a First Amendment case. But we don't want Trump to speak. So they take away your rights on First Amendment. Now they sue because so now I have one of these lunatic reporters back there saying, sir, would like to talk to you about your case. Or, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Somehow that's not good for votes. Do you agree? When we say I can't talk, I will talk about it. I will. They're not taking away my First Amendment right.
First of all, he's getting less creative with his nicknames.
Yes.
Like he already used Crooked on Hillary.
Yeah.
And it also reminds me he is responsible for what has become the really unfortunate conservative House style of no noun without an adjective.
Yes.
Yeah. And preferably more than one. Minimum one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But the form of speech aside,
yes.
I was going to say, you can see what he's doing there. He's characterizing this issue as a fight for free speech, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so either there are two options in his world.
Yeah.
Either he dominates his oppressors,
yes,
who he defines as Joe Biden.
Yes.
The prosecutor is Joe Biden. That's right. In his world.
Yeah.
And he shows how much stronger than he is than Joe Biden by doing whatever he wants, right? And so he turns the court case into a constant, and his acts of contempt, into a constant demonstration of his strength.
Yes, yep.
Or alternatively, they throw him in jail and he's a martyr for free speech.
Yeah.
Right? And he raises more money and he proves the judges are biased against him and they hate Trump, in inverted commas. Okay. So just to be clear, he absolutely should go to jail. If it was anyone else, he would for contempt. Sam Bankman-Fried is in jail right now because he leaked some diary entries of one of the witnesses against him to a reporter.
Yes.
They sell that as witness tampering because it might dissuade others from testifying.
Yep.
Trump point blank abuses witnesses.
Yes, yeah.
He wrote, I am reading reports that failed former Lieutenant Governor of Georgia, Jeff Duncan, will be testifying before the Fulton County grand jury. He shouldn't. And then he went on to abuse him. Right? That will dissuade witnesses, I feel.
Yes.
So he's already way past the line on contempt, right? Now, he's already abused Chutkan. He said she's highly partisan, very biased and unfair. She obviously won't be seen behind bars. He's running. Have you seen the Fraud Squad ad that he's running?
No, I haven't.
He's running this bloody ad. I cannot believe he's running this ad.
How far will the most corrupt president in history go to keep Republicans from winning back the White House? Meet the cast of unscrupulous accomplices he's assembled to get Trump. Alvin Bragg, the radical liberal New York prosecutor who refuses to prosecute violent criminals. Jack Smith, who's made a career persecuting innocent Republican officials. Letitia James, the socialist who ran on the promise, I'll go after Trump. And Biden's newest lackey, Atlanta DA, Fani Willis. So incompetent, on her watch, violent crimes have exploded. So tainted, Willis was thrown off one case for trying to prosecute a political opponent. So corrupt, Willis got caught hiding a relationship with a gang member she was prosecuting. So dishonest, Willis was accused of creating a fake subpoena. Welcome to the Fraud Squad.
I mean, that's an actual ad. That's not just like that's a TV ad.
Yeah.
It's just like that is just beyond contempt.
Yes,
That's just incredible. And by the way, I should actually just from a fact checking point of view, because those plays is bullshit.
Yeah.
I should say that for those who watched the ad, there was a big graphic saying on the first claim on Fannie Willis, Atlanta violence, nearly 60% more murders so far this year. The fine print says from 2021, that's a stat from 2021.
Yes.
This year they've gone down by 25%.
Yes, yeah.
The relationship claim, that's based on the inappropriate relationship with a gang member, is based on a headline from Rolling Stone. Willis got caught hiding a relationship with a gang member she was prosecuting. It's a very strange headline because the article itself goes on to say that what they're talking about is a gang member told Rolling Stone magazine that Willis represented him in an aggravated assault case as a defense lawyer back in 2019. And he said he had a cool relationship with Willis during his case, calling her a great attorney who understands real life, but specified that they had an auntie to nephew, mother to son type of talks. And so he's making it like she's having an affair with him or something, right? The fake subpoena thing was a claim from an opponent that the judge overruled, ruled against.
Yeah.
And the political opponent she was told not to directly prosecute was one of the fake electors in this case.
Yes.
The judge said that someone else should indict them rather than her.
Yes.
Like it's just complete bullshit. But that is so contemptuous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Trump knows he will not be sent to jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
The question at some point, like he's just got to run out of lawyers, right? Like lawyers will... At some point, lawyers are not going for their own professional reputations and lives. There are things that they just won't do. And I think he's going to run out. Well, he's not going to run out. There's always going to be a supply of lawyers, but he's going to get back down into Giuliani and Powell territory in terms of who's actually still willing to represent him. Yeah.
But it possibly might be exactly those people from jail.
Chutkan, can you represent someone while you're on trial for the same as part of the same conspiracy that they are?
Is it? I mean,
that's an intriguing legal question.
Ethically, you obviously couldn't, and you might be disbarred for doing it.
I think we're beyond that point.
But legally, I think you probably could.
All represent each other.
I should say off the back of that, like this relates to what you were saying about the trial date, 2026 versus January 2.
Yeah.
What Chutkan said recently, and I think is a smart thing to say, is that the more a party makes inflammatory statements about this case, which could taint the jury pool, the greater the urgency will be that we proceed to trial quickly.
Yes.
Threatening a quicker
Absolutely.
trial.
Yeah.
And I think she should follow up on that.
I think she should.
Even with 11.6 million pages.
Yes,
It's because he's just, that's the only threat that he would take seriously, I would have thought.
Yeah.
And it gets really interesting in Georgia, because I don't know if you know Georgia's criminal bail law. Once again,
I do not.
Well, once again, he's just not going to get sent to jail. But the quote is, they can only be released on bail if they pose, quote, no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice.
Yeah.
That's the law.
Wow.
You can't get bail in Georgia if there's a risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice. And there is a 100% chance of Trump doing that.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what the Georgia judge does with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt they'll follow through, but whatever. Like this, but I think this area is just, it's just going to become worse and worse.
It is,
because this is his campaign now. His campaign now is, I am so strong. I am just smashing these guys over and over and over again to prove my strength. Yeah,
that is it. Yeah, No, I mean, this is the thing. We've known this since the 2016 campaign. Trump's major talent in life is degrading everything he touches until the point that it collapses.
Yeah.
And, you know, he had his go with the political system. Now he's having his go with the legal system.
There's so much we got to say about this, because it's just, I know it's time. Anyway, there's a quick update on the delay because I've been talking about the delay in the third indictment. How I thought that was fair enough. A complaint that took a year for Merrick Garland to get started. Literally, they didn't start the investigation for over a year. The probe of the White House trying to steal the election. Even when they started, they didn't start targeting Trump at the beginning because it was just nefarious activities in the White House. Trump was just playing golf somewhere. Anyway, I complained about that, and Pepper pulled me up. Oh, they didn't pull me up, but they pointed me to an article, which is in the homework. You can go have a look at it in the homework there. It's an interesting angle, which is the suggestion that Garland might have delayed the Trump investigation to use the January 6 rioters as kindling to build a legal basis for their prosecution of Trump. Because the statutes they're using against Trump, obstruction or attempted obstruction of an official proceeding, a conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, they've used hundreds of times against January 6 rioters in the last few years. And that's a great point.
Yes.
I think it's wrong, but I think it's a great point. When I say I think it's wrong, I think they're right that it's good precedent for them to use. I don't think they did it on purpose.
No.
And the reason why I don't think they did it on purpose is because you could have started an investigation without appointing a special counsel.
Yes, absolutely.
And I suspect it's the other way around.
Yep.
Rather than them waiting so they could build up these precedents, I think Jack Smith charged Trump with them because those precedents exist.
Yes.
I think Jack Smith is just a good prosecutor.
Yep.
So that's my suspicion of how it worked.
Yes.
But having said that, that's a fair fringe benefit to the delay. So and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did do it on purpose. It's worth considering. If you're interested, look in the homework. There's an article there. We had a few people ask us about the 14th Amendment. Do you want to talk about that briefly or not?
You start.
Okay. All right. It's not just about who starts also, but it's also about as a topic. You happy? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a legal paper doing the rounds. I'm going to try and make this quick. God. It's written by super conservative lawyers. William Board, Michael Paulson. They're both Federalist Society members. They're both big-time originalists who get cited by the originalists on the court all the time.
Yep.
Okay. And also it was supported by, it was called a tour de force by Stephen Calabrese, who's the founder of the Federalist Society.
Yes.
Who's also super conservative. Okay, you can read the article in the homework. It goes for 126 pages. I didn't read it. But you know what? I share that with approximately 100% of the people who are talking about it.
Yes.
So that's, normally I do read these things, but I just didn't have the time. It's dense.
Yeah.
If you're a lawyer and you're interested, the article's there in the homework. You can have a look.
Read every footnote.
But to summarize what I understand this article says, and I want to keep on saying I didn't read it because normally I do, and I don't want to be verbaling things. Maybe they're taking care of everything.
It's okay, Chase. You can stop beating yourself up for not reading something in your 11.6 million pages of weekly reading.
The 14th Amendment, Section 3 reads, quote, "No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any other state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof."
And by the way, this was used a lot in the aftermath of the Civil War.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So people who had been involved in the Confederate military, they didn't have to have committed war crimes or killed anyone or whatever. If they'd been in uniform, they were disenfranchised for a long time.
Yes. Now, their argument, these conservative writers' argument, is that it says no person shall be president or whatever who shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, etc. It doesn't say they've got to be found guilty of a crime. It just says it's a factual question.
Shall.
Yeah. Did they do it or did they not? If they did it, they shall not have those positions.
Yes.
So they're essentially arguing that these are self-executing commands and you don't need a trial.
Yep.
That state legislatures should, off their own bat,
Yes.
say, well, Trump was either part of the insurrection or gave aid and comfort to the enemies in this insurrection, and so so they should just not They should just say, declare he is not qualified
Would it
to get
be
elected.
state? It wouldn't be state legislatures, though. Wouldn't it be secretaries of state?
Maybe. I don't think it, yeah.
Because the Supreme Court has just ruled
That's
that it's
true.
not state legislatures
That's
who
true.
are in control.
That's
of
fair. But my point is,
elections.
it's states that decide.
Yes. Yeah,
Like it's not like a national decision.
And the reason why I say that is because when these authors have been interviewed, they've been saying secretaries of state should actually take Trump's or refuse to put Trump's name on the ballot. And if they do allow his name on the ballot, they should be sued.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so there's a few questions raised here.
Yes.
Was January 6th an insurrection or rebellion? They say it was an insurrection. Do you agree with that?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. So that's first step.
Yep.
Okay. I should say I probably wouldn't call it an insurrection.
Right.
I'd probably call it a riot, but
Okay.
I don't know the legal difference. I mean, this is the thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
definitions here, you know? Did Trump engage in the insurrection, or did Trump provide aid or comfort to the enemies of the United States?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you saying which one? Engagement or aid or comfort?
Both.
They say both. They say taking these events as a whole and judging them under the standard of Section 3 is unquestionably fair to say that Trump engaged in the January 6th insurrection through both his actions and his inaction.
Yes.
Officials, administrators, courts, legislators whose responsibilities call upon them to apply Section 3 properly and lawfully must take action within their powers to preclude Trump from holding future office. Okay. I would say is that the enemies of the United States in the past has been interpreted as people America is at war with when it comes to treason, at least. Now, this was, as you say, a civil war.
Yes.
Bit of amendment, and it could mean a civil war.
Yeah.
Whether insurrectionists in January 6th count as that, as enemies, I don't know. They say that Section 3 covers a broad range of conduct against the authority of the constitutional order, including many instances of indirect participation or support. To me, that sounds a little ominous. It sounds like rife for abuse. What are the definitions here?
Yep.
They say, you might ask, number 3, does the First Amendment clash with this provision? They say no, it actually supersedes the First Amendment.
Absolutely, yes.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yes.
I'm happy with that. Okay, so do you have any other thoughts about the 14th Amendment before I make one other point on this one?
Well, I've been wondering, would anyone actually try it?
Yeah.
So is there any Secretary of State anywhere
You'd be brave.
who is going to try it? And I mean, we do have people who, in many cases, very narrowly defeated secretaries of state who were promising to hand the 2024 election to Trump. Maybe they would be motivated to try it, but most of them are in very politically closely divided states, and it would basically be a suicide mission, I think. I think it's unlikely that. I mean, what I can imagine is there will be groups who will bring lawsuits demanding that secretaries of state prohibit Trump from being on the ballot. I mean, it could. Maybe some secretary of state, probably in some deep blue state where they're not going to get a lot of opposition to it, maybe they will try it. But if they do try it, there are obviously going to be major legal challenges to that too, no matter where they do it. And I can imagine that a court's response to that would be to say, while this is working its way through the legal system, Trump's name stays on the ballot.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. So I don't think that this is going to, even if someone wants to try it, I don't think that this is going to keep his name off the ballot anyway. But I actually don't see secretaries of state doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Because this is just one law paper that we're talking about. This
Just
is
one
not-
paper.
Yeah, this is not a legal judgment that we're looking at.
Absolutely. And I agree with you what you said about the practical thing. I'd raise one more point.
Yes.
I would argue most of all the idea that this is self-executing.
Yes.
In that Congress are supposed to be the guys who enforce the Constitution, right?
Yes, yeah.
It just so happens they've passed a statute which outlaws participation in rebellion or insurrection.
Yes.
It disqualifies you from office.
Yes.
This statute.
Yes.
Okay, so they're trying to execute
Yes.
that provision
Yep.
clearly with that
Yes.
law. So that law exists. It's there.
Yes.
no one at January 6th was charged under that law.
Right.
Especially Trump.
Yes.
And so I would say that it would be a legal and political disaster if state officials ignored a law that is on the books.
Yes.
For this very purpose.
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
instead unilaterally declared Trump unqualified
Yes.
as that particular law on the books
Yes,
is
yeah,
meant
yeah.
to implement.
Yes.
And so, and I understand that, like, there may be some technicalities in the law or whatever where you go, maybe but you should be able to do that. I think that that's just a disaster. So that is, now, I haven't read their article. Maybe I'm attacking a straw man. Maybe they spend 10 pages saying why what I just said is wrong.
Yeah.
But that's just my
Yes.
instinct.
One other funny little detail about this was one of the authors, or was it one of the authors or was it Calabrese who was interviewed by the Washington Post?
I don't know.
And actually told the reporter, the Federalist Society has asked me not to talk to any media outlet that is going to mention that I'm a co-founder of the Federalist Society. The journalist includes in brackets, I took note of this request and rejected it. So, the Federalist Society as a whole is not happy about this article.
Not big fans of the article.
No.
Very quick. Stats nugget. Stats nugget. Stats nugget. It doesn't go like this, but still. Real quick one, this one. Just a random stat.
Yep.
67% of all known global serial murderers since 1900 have been Americans. USA. I'm not talking about shootings here. You might go, shootings. Yeah, sure, guns. I'm talking about serial killers. 67% of all known global serial killers since 1900. Americans.
Wow.
I got nothing else.
Oh, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Let me, since I was so short, let me do another one, which is going to now move on to a little discussion point. Yep. Old people. According to an NBC News analysis,
yes,
the Congress is the third oldest since 1789. The median age of 57.9.
Yep.
Last Congress is 58.9, so they're slightly younger.
Right, okay.
Senate, second oldest in US history. Median age is 65.3.
Wow.
Last Senate was 64.8, so slightly older. You may have seen this clip of Dianne Feinstein being extremely confused when she's voting.
Senator Feinstein.
Say aye. Pardon me? Aye. Yeah.
To say
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense, and it funds priorities submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just aye.
Thank you.
Poor old Dianne Feinstein. She's 90. She's had encephalitis and Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, which involves vision and balance impairments. Last week, she had a minor fall in her home and was taken to hospital for a day. Just the fact you're taken to hospital for a day for a minor fall in your home is not a good sign.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We now find out that Dianne Feinstein has signed over the power of attorney to her daughter.
Right.
She has the power of a senator, but she doesn't have the power of attorney. Her daughter is 66.
Yeah.
When your daughter is pensioner age, she's old, right? She's old. Now, just be fair with the power of attorney thing.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that she's non-compos mentis. Sometimes there's good reasons.
No. Yeah.
Sometimes it's because you're unavailable.
Yes. Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't attend meetings, etc. Her daughter's a lawyer,
Yeah.
so if it's for legal reasons,
Yes.
then her daughter would be better informed.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
right now she's in the middle of a court case with her family.
Yeah.
Over whether they've been screwing her over with medical care and so
Yes.
forth. So and her daughter is basically taking care of this, and she's declared it elder abuse.
Yes.
Right. So maybe it's just legal reasons, but still doesn't look good.
No.
It doesn't look good when you're a senator and you've got power of attorney.
No.
your
I remember
daughter.
when Jane Costin came to talk to my class and she was trying to explain to them how old Dianne Feinstein is.
Yes.
She pointed out when Harvey Milk was assassinated in San Francisco, would it be 45 years ago?
Yeah.
Like Dianne Feinstein was the one who made the announcement
Yeah.
that he'd been assassinated. I don't think most students knew who Harvey Milk was.
Because they're too young.
Yes. Well, not only are they too young for Harvey Milk himself, obviously, who died 45 years ago, but they're too young for the 2008 Sean Penn movie.
Yeah.
Milk. Which, by the way, I saw that during a morning session in a cinema in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I remember the only other people in the cinema were a couple of old people. But the ads that they played before Milk, one of them was this recruitment ad for the National Guard, clearly aimed at 18-year-olds, which was making the Iraq War look like a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kid Rock was singing this banger.
Kids love Kid Rock.
Yeah. They call me warrior. And it was, this totally gamified kind of view of this soldier doing stuff in either Iraq or Afghanistan, and then just interspersed with random shots of Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving a NASCAR around around a track.
Yeah.
It made no sense. And given that the audience of that movie was 2 octogenarians and 1 PhD student. Not good use of advertising money by the National Guard.
Didn't really hit.
In a morning session of Milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's how desperate they were by that point to actually recruit people into the National Guard.
Did you join the National Guard?
I was ineligible.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly. Yeah. Oh, well. But back to old Dianne Feinstein. She's actually not the main issue here.
No.
She's a little side issue.
The main issue is time itself.
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in terms of old people in the Senate,
Yes.
she's not the issue. She's kind of an irrelevance.
Yes,
I kind of forgot she was a senator. She's basically, she's done nothing for the last 5 years except be old.
Yes,
right? And she's done that spectacularly, I have to
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
But she...
No,
but
we all know what the turtle in the room here
exactly.
is. Yes.
Exactly. I'm going to say that in the blurb as well. That's a good one. Now we're talking about Mitch McConnell. He is the real issue. Now, I would play the clip where he froze, but people listening to this podcast would think it was broken.
Yes.
Because it goes for a long time of silence. But I'll put it in the homework. If you haven't seen the clip where Mitch McConnell froze, it's in the homework. You can have a look. It's confronting. He's clearly had some kind of seizure of some kind.
Yeah.
He's had 2 nasty trips and falls this year already, as well as that freezing.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of reporting going on about his health deteriorating quite quickly behind the scenes. And him apparently being deaf as well. It's affecting everyone, really. His constituents are clearly devastated by this news. I don't know if you saw Mitch talking to his Kentucky constituents this week.
No, I didn't.
But they were clearly very saddened by his health situation here. It goes on for 5 minutes. We didn't hear much what Mitch McConnell has to say. We just hear retire over and over again. So they love him.
It's fake. So Kentucky, I remember you were talking about the relative popularity of governors.
Yes.
So they've got one of the most unpopular governors in the country.
Yes.
One of the most, it'd have to be 2 of the most unpopular senators, surely.
Who's the other one?
Rand Paul.
Rand Paul. I don't think Rand Paul's a patch on Mitch McConnell for unpopularity. They really hate Mitch McConnell. He was the least popular senator by a margin.
But I think they don't hate Rand Paul because nobody thinks very much about him these days.
Right,
Yeah, whereas you're kind of forced to think about Mitch McConnell.
And I also feel like people probably think, he got his just desserts. He got bashed up.
Yeah. They've got some lousy representatives. It's a pity. Kentucky's one of my favourite states. It is an absolutely beautiful state.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got some it's got some very well-known parts, but some very obscure parts as well. It's very much worth a visit, the whole state.
Kentucky Corner coming up. let me tell you why this is an issue.
Yeah.
It's not just because he's Mitch McConnell, and not because he's important, unlike Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah.
Kentucky has a unique situation. As you just hinted, they have a Democrat governor.
Yes, they do.
And they're a very Republican state with a very Republican state legislature.
They have actually always had one of the highest numbers of registered Democrats.
Sure.
Even after the sort of sea change in alignment in southern states.
Sure, but let's put it this way.
Yes.
A Democrat is not going to win the Senate race in Kentucky.
No. Oh, God, no.
Okay.
No. It's one of the last places you would see.
And that's important.
Yes,
because
yeah,
if Mitch McConnell dies, he has to be replaced.
Yes.
And they have a Democrat governor.
Oh.
And the 17th Amendment says it's the governor who selects
The
replacement.
So Ashley Judd could actually get a chance.
Maybe.
Wow.
But here's the thing: the state legislature saw this coming a long time ago. So they passed a law about four decades ago. They saw Mitch McConnell's age being an issue, so they passed a law over the Democrat governor's veto, forcing him to nominate someone from a panel suggested by a legislature.
Right.
So they're all going to be Republicans. But remember what I just said: the 17th Amendment doesn't mention panels or state legislatures.
No.
It mentions the governor.
Yes.
Which means...
By the way, can we refer to this panel as a death panel?
Yeah, that's accurate. Why not? That means that the Democrat governor could easily just go, you know what? Screw your panel.
Yeah.
I'm appointing a Democrat. Take me to court.
Yes.
All right? And that's the kind of hardball that some people would do. And if he does that, and he appoints a Democrat. But I'm not cheering for this. I'm just saying that this is what might happen. If he does that, that could be the only thing that keeps the Democrats in majority in the Senate in 2024. Because they've got a horror election coming up.
They do, yes.
Yeah. And this is one Senate seat, because Mitch McConnell's there till 2026.
Yes.
This is one Senate seat that might be the difference.
Wow.
So especially if Biden retains the presidency and they otherwise would have 49 seats.
Yes.
And then that gives them the 50th seat.
Yep.
Like that, this could be really important.
Yeah.
So this is a big issue. Also a big issue is with Ukraine funding.
Yes.
Which some would say that Mitch McConnell is the only reason that Ukraine keeps on getting funding from the Senate, because Republicans have turned against it, which is a poll that is probably not going to come up because we're going to run out of time.
Okay.
The Republicans have really turned against Ukraine funding.
Yes.
And Mitch McConnell's kind of going alone there.
Yeah.
And so if he goes, that might have a huge effect on the Ukraine war as well.
Yes.
But with all this old people stuff, do you have any thoughts about, number one, is it a problem that they're so old? Maybe it doesn't matter. And if it is a problem, what can be done about how old these guys are? And they're generally old. It's not just McConnell and Feinstein.
And I mean, I would say age is not the problem. Ability is the problem. Yeah. Because there are people who can carry on for years, like into their 90s, and actually still be fine and still able to do the job. The point at which time takes its toll happens at different points for different people. Yeah. And the problem is then that it would be very hard to actually write or implement any kind of rule about, okay, well, you've got to go because you're no longer competent, because, how would you draw that line, given that you can't draw it with someone actually losing power of attorney? Yeah, that doesn't disqualify you.
No, apparently not.
So if that doesn't disqualify you, I can't imagine some sort of, rule being written. So you could make the argument that, okay, the only remedy is a compulsory retirement age at some point. Now, I'm not aware of any compulsory retirement age anywhere in American life. There are countries that have compulsory retirement ages for the whole population, or at least for entire categories of occupation. In Australia, I believe we have compulsory retirement ages for High Court judges, which is something that Americans often look at longingly when they think about the composition of the Supreme Court. But this is just not something that happens in the United States. So this is not going to go away as an issue, because people will be able to keep living for longer and longer, but making people physically able for longer and longer is a lot harder.
It is.
Yeah.
I have no solution to this. I mean,
No.
I think it's a problem, but I have no solution. I mean,
No.
well, it's actually not a problem right now because we have such a partisan Senate. They're just a yes or no machine. You know, like I said many times about our Pennsylvania friend.
Yes.
That's like just the standards of which they have to meet are not high.
No.
But if you had a proper Senate that worked like it was meant to, then that would be a problem.
It's like,
I don't know
okay,
what you
so
do about it.
they don't actually even need the full skill set of a traffic controller. You know, standing around at Sydney University directing some traffic to go slow on Western Avenue. Yeah. But I think it would be a very difficult thing to remedy.
Okay, so we've still got a bit of time. We've got like 35 minutes or so.
Yes.
So let me throw a few options at you about where we go from here, and you can pick. Because like in the next week and a bit, I've got another Melina podcast coming just after next week. So we can do some catching up if I need to.
Yep.
I've got 3 things on the potential agenda here.
Yes.
We've got the beginnings of our much ballyhooed Supreme Court section.
Yes. Okay.
we've got cleaning up the stuff that's left over on Hunter Biden, which is the which I've been hanging around.
We shouldn't use the term cleaning up and Hunter Biden together. That's a bit gross.
But what I'm referring to there is I'm referring to his art. There's been updates on his art show. Remember
really?
that? And there's also the white powder story, which we've had a few requests to talk about.
Okay.
And then the other thing is I got some polling bits and pieces, some general sort of polling bits and pieces, and there's also the debate as well. Which is coming up as well. Which of those would you like to talk about?
Well, if we do Hunter, can we play the Hunter music?
Of course we can.
Okay, let's do Hunter then.
Hunter, with his very smart cat and his mouse. Hunter, and his computerized gadget-filled house. On his bike or in his den, he's always looking around and then he's asking, what, why, where, and when? That's Hunter.
Okay.
There we go. I love that. We've been playing on the show as well, on the Play America as well.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, we have.
Well, yeah, because no copyright problem. ABC presumably owns
It's
that.
not ABC.
Really?
You were wrong about that.
Oh, no.
It's Channel 9.
Channel 9?
It was Channel 9. Yeah.
Wikipedia's lied to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Richard Cook, get onto this.
I know this because I was going to just use it willy-nilly from the ABC, and I was told, no, we don't have copyright. And I was like, what the hell? But we ended up getting a copy. It was okay. Oh. But yeah, anyway.
I thought it was ABC Hobart.
Yeah. It might be, look, maybe...
Oh, but Channel 9 might have bought it.
Back then, back
right.
Yeah.
Because for non-Australian, so all Australian channels need to follow Australian content laws, which require them to show a certain amount of Australian children's content. And ABC for a long time has been the only channel that really makes a lot of that. So other channels buy that. Okay, sorry. Wikipedia is forgiven. Richard Cook does not need to go on an investigative mission.
Richard Cook
to find out what went wrong here.
He's the Wikipedia ombudsman.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, but no, I'm making sure everyone knows about that theme because I just it's the best thing you've ever done, Dave. It really is.
Yeah. If I can be responsible for a revival of the Hunter theme.
Yeah. Okay, what I'm not going to talk about is a special counsel because we talked about it on Play America. I don't want any overlap. If you have anything to say about that, you can say it. But special counsel, do you have anything to say?
Not really.
No, that's fine.
No.
All I would say is that I'll just say one thing, which is that I've been saying there should be a special counsel for some time, so I'm happy about that.
Yep.
Some people are unhappy that he made Weiss the special counsel rather than a new special counsel.
Yep.
All I would say is, while I agree with some of the critiques of Weiss, if he'd appointed a new person as a special counsel, there's a 100% chance that people have said, you're trying to stall by starting the investigation again, so you put off past the election.
Yes.
So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
I did say that on the show, but I just want to make that point because I don't think it's been made enough.
Yeah, no, I know he doesn't have the easiest job to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, forget special counsel.
Okay.
Let's talk about Hunter's art quite quickly. In the end, for those who don't remember what we're talking about, he had an art show. Hunter is an artist. He had an art show.
Just like George W. Bush.
Yeah, but the difference is he's been selling them for a lot of money.
Oh dear.
In fact, he sold his artworks for $1.3 million.
What? No.
$1.3 million.
Oh.
Now you might go, hang on. That's a recipe for corruption here. Surely people who want influence of the Biden administration would buy this art. No, because they said at the time, no one. These is going to be silent auctions. No one will know who the bidders are. because there's no way you could ever find out. Well, we found out. We haven't found everyone. There was one guy who bought $875,000 of art, and we don't know who that is. And I think we do want to know who that is, but we don't know who that is. We do know one buyer.
Can I clarify what kind of art are we? Because are we talking paintings or are we talking NFTs
of his photos?
Yes. Yeah.
I will say this about his photos. While I disapprove of them being put up in Congress as some kind of porn thing, the Daily Mail does have exquisite selection. Whenever you see a Hunter Biden article in the Daily Mail, just scroll down and you're going to see some photos you've never seen that you never want to see again. They really, every time there's new photos, they've got the whole collection, the Daily Mail. Anyway, no, it's paintings. It's paintings. And it's not paintings of him nude in the lift. Anyway, we know of one buyer, Elizabeth Hirsch Naftali. She's a Los Angeles real estate investor.
Okay.
And we also know that 8 months after Biden's art opened, Joe Biden announced her appointment to the Commission for the Preservation of America's Heritage Abroad. Now, I want to emphasize, before we get too excited about this, it's an unpaid position. Okay? It's an unpaid position. But
she's clearly qualified by her exquisite taste.
That's right. Well, that's America's heritage.
Yes.
Hunter's paintings are America's heritage, if you ask me. Eric Schwerin, who's Hunter Biden's longtime business associate, was appointed to the same post by Obama in 2015.
Yeah.
And an email from Hunter's laptop in 2015 to a cousin who wanted that appointment for his mother, Hunter said, Eric asked me for one of these the day after the election in 2008, insinuating that he has some sway, right?
Yeah.
And now this woman who bought his art has got that position.
Yeah.
An unpaid position, let's emphasize.
Yeah.
Now, I actually don't think this is a case of corruption.
No, I don't think
And I'll tell you why. She's a significant Democrat donor.
Yes.
Right? She doesn't just...
that's the corrupt element.
Exactly.
Yeah,
she doesn't just donate to Hunter's art.
Well, that's kind of run-of-the-mill, Yeah.
She gave $13,000 to the Biden campaign, $29,000 to the DNC.
Yeah.
And that's in 1 year.
Yes.
She hosted a fundraiser for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
She visited the White House 13 times since 2021.
You
she's
do
mates.
enough of this shit, you get
Totally.
Yeah.
This is what
Although
they do.
that is nothing like the kind of money that you've got to donate to become an ambassador.
Yeah. No, it's not. But this is a pretty shitty appointment.
Yes.
And also apparently she was recommended by Nancy Pelosi, who she undoubtedly donated to as well. Importantly, we don't even know if she bought the art before or after the appointment.
Right.
We don't know when she bought the art.
God, imagine getting the appointment and then buying the art.
So I'm not saying the people are going, oh, look at this. Here's the proof of corruption. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this art thing is not good because it raises these questions.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
It's, so I don't like that Hunter did that, but that's the update on that. Okay, I kept that quite short. Do you have something else to say about Hunter's art?
No.
Okay, let's go white powder. Here we go. Had like 3 different listeners asking us to talk about the white powder. Okay, I've forgotten all your names. I'm going to write them down next time. I'll say your names. If you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, put them in the comments of the YouTube or Facebook page. I will write down your names next time. Not that we got a shortage of things to talk about, but if there's something you'd like to.
But we would not be able to get the copyright to play the song White Lines.
No,
but you
that
can,
wasn't
you
made
can
by the
YouTube
ABC.
that. You can YouTube that, or YouTube the scene in Shaun of the Dead where they're drunkenly singing White Lines.
You can play
while they're
you're
being
listening to
oblivious
this.
to the zombie apocalypse happening around them.
While we talk about this, listen to that song.
Yeah.
Okay, so white powder has been some mysterious white powder was discovered in the White House behind the security line. White powder, White House.
Now, if you're wondering, is this a good story or a bad story? Well, can you remember the last good story that started with mysterious white powder?
That's fair. It's a fair point. Look, it does seem. I think we all know. I think we all suspecting this is going to the same place.
Yes.
I have brought this up in the Hunter section.
Yes. Yeah.
No one knows no one seems to know how it got there. How'd that white powder get there? Apparently, it's cocaine. We know that.
Yeah. It's not ricin.
By an amazing coincidence, that is Hunter's drug of choice these days. But anyway, Hunter assures us it's been clean for years, though. So it's probably not him because he says he's clean.
By years. 2 years?
2 years. 2 years. Certainly not 10 years. So let's try and solve the mystery of who else it could be, for argument's sake. There is no security footage of when it was dropped there or by who. Okay? There's no security footage.
Yeah.
Even though it was supposedly left in a highly trafficked area apparently is left in a highly trafficked area, which has no security footage. Or at least no security footage that they want to tell us about. Okay. So who would you think could bring cocaine through the extreme security of the White House? And then once they got past the security guards, they would take it out of their pocket and then they would forget it. Who would that apply to? Because that's the situation. They somehow got it in.
Yeah.
Maybe by avoiding the security.
Yes, yeah.
Say, hypothetically
Yes,
speaking.
yeah.
They took it out of their pocket.
Yeah.
And they forgot it there.
Yeah.
Who could possibly do
there's
that?
an obvious answer to this. They didn't forget it there.
Yeah.
They were suddenly confronted by a slavering commander who bit the shit out of them and they dropped it.
Oh my God. I just realized.
Yeah.
Put two and two together.
Yeah.
Why are all of Biden's dogs biting people?
Yeah.
It's because they've tried the cocaine. These are drug-fueled dogs. It all makes sense. Anyway, maybe it's their cocaine. Maybe it was Commander's cocaine.
This does not weaken my defense of the dogs, by the way. I'm still 100% with the dogs.
And then it explains the next thing, which is the Secret Service gave up their investigation after 11 days. They said, no, we had no idea. We can't find who this is. There are no fingerprints. How could there be no fingerprints on the bag if there's paw prints instead? That explains everything. It's Commander's Coke. I'm going to put that in the blurb too. All right, okay. I have a little bit more information, but first I'm going to ask you if you have any theories other than it was Hunter Biden. Any other theories?
Look, no.
Okay, all right. Okay, let me tell you a couple of extra things. One of them comes from you. So,
Right.
so you'll be able to tell me about this.
Okay.
Which is something you said off air. You won't mind me bringing this on here. When we're talking about something else entirely.
Yes.
Is that Hunter Biden is not the only druggie in the Biden family.
No.
They are a party family.
Yes.
That is so to be fair to Hunter Biden,
Yeah.
there are other family members, if it's a
Yes.
family member, who could have brought that cocaine in.
Yep.
They're not all partiers,
Yes.
but I mean, do you want to say that the rest of that on air that you were telling me or not?
No.
Okay, that's fine. All right. I won't dump you in that.
Look,
that's fine.
I would say snidely, maybe one of the sons of the previous president left it behind.
Yeah.
But we all know that Donald never let them in the White House.
And he never would have left Coke behind.
No.
Never.
No.
No Coke left behind.
Yeah.
That'll be his slogan if he runs for president one
yeah.
day. Also, I should say Hunter Biden has been known to stay at the White House from time to time as well. I should just note that. But
this is, and I've got to say, look, this is one of the sort of pathologies of this, which is Joe Biden refuses to distance himself from Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Like he says, didn't have anything to do with the businesses, didn't talk to him about the business, but he will just not distance himself as a family member. I think that is very admirable in a lot of ways, that he will not distance himself from this very troubled adult child who could actually do serious political damage to him.
he totally could have got rid of him a long time
He
ago.
could have, yeah.
Like it's not like he's like a 12-year-old. He's a middle-aged guy. He could have.
Yeah.
Other presidents have done that before.
Yeah.
So that's true. Okay, so this is the big piece of information though.
Okay.
There was a story about this. And of all publications, the magazine I've never heard of, maybe you have, Soldier of Fortune.
Oh, yeah.
You have Soldier of Fortune magazine?
It's the Mercenary magazine.
Well, there we go. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's where I go for all my scoops on Rambo
I'm pretty
and on white powder.
Pretty sure I've seen it in Phoenix Airport.
Okay.
Yeah, if you ever go to Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix, in the newsagent, they'll have magazines like Soldier of Fortune. Oh, there's a great magazine called Armchair General.
Okay.
Where it's for military history buffs. It's got things like, this week we look at what would happen if Napoleon fought Alexander the Great, but they were both using medieval weapons.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Maybe it's their cocaine.
Maybe it is. Anyway, both fine publications.
Okay, well, it turns out Soldier of Fortune is a particularly fine publication because it attracted 3 separate US government security sources, apparently, who all told them the same name, who the cocaine baggie belonged to. And they said these security sources said that a fingerprint was found and it belonged to this person, and that the Secret Service told Joe Biden who it was, and they said it wasn't Hunter. They said it's someone within the Biden family orbit, but it wasn't Hunter.
Yeah, this is looking more and more like the dog theory.
Maybe. I was going to say maybe it's the party family, but no, it's Commander.
Yes.
The Secret Service, of course, denies this all. Denies everything that the Soldier of Fortune magazine said.
Yep.
But I just put it out there. That's what Soldier of Fortune has to say.
There you go.
And that's all we've got. Otherwise, according to the Secret Service, after 11 days, it was impossible. There was no security footage. There were no fingerprints. There was nothing. Yep. It was the perfect crime. Maybe the Jeffrey Epstein killer did it. I don't know. It was a perfect crime. Look, I have nothing else to add to that.
No.
But just that's all I have to tell you about the white powder. You want to hear about the white powder? That's all I've got.
Yeah.
Draw your own conclusions.
Yes, yeah. I've got to say, for those of you who are asking, sorry, you brought this segment upon yourselves.
You did. You really did.
You are responsible for the last 10 minutes of what you've just said.
So choose wisely when you ask for a topic.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave, we've got polling bits and pieces. We've got Supreme Court.
Let's do polling bits and pieces. Okay. We don't have enough time to do this.
Oh, we definitely can't finish the Supreme Court.
Justice.
But there's bits and pieces.
Leave that for Melina.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, Melina.
Right. Okay, there's a few random things here. This is from the New York Times, Sienna, who just keep on dropping depressing polling nuggets about the Republicans.
Yes. Yeah.
13% of Republicans believe that Trump committed serious federal crimes.
Yes.
Okay, 13%, that's not a big number, but it's kind of what you expect.
Yes, yep.
That's not the interesting bit. This is the interesting bit. In a head-to-head race between DeSantis and Donald Trump, amongst those Republicans, those 13% who believe Trump committed serious federal crimes, Trump's beaten DeSantis by 5 points.
Okay, look, let me just slap the necessary caveat on that, which is I don't know what their whole sample was. I assume about 1,000. 13% of that is 130. That means there's a confidence interval of something like 10%.
That's fair.
So, look, as fun as that is, I cannot, in all good conscience, the day that I have been telling my students about always being aware of media reporting of polls where they split it into subsamples. Yes, but yeah.
Fair enough. I say it's a bit of a fun one more than a
bit of a fun
one.
one. Yes.
Interesting poll about transgender people, and you can see why I haven't been able to work it into anything else because we don't talk about transgender people a lot when we talk about indictments.
No.
But this is from Pew.
Yes.
This is really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
In 2016, Pew found that 30% of Americans knew someone who was transgender, which was a large number. I would have expected.
Yep.
In 2022, 44% of Americans know someone's transgender. Now, the reason why that's so important is because we've talked about this on the podcast before.
Yes, yeah.
That there has never been a minority group that achieved acceptance faster than gay people did from the point of mass disrespect, which was the DOMO DOMO amendment back in what was that 1998 or something, 999, something like that. It was late 90s, wasn't it?
90. Wasn't it earlier than that?
Might be.
That could be homework. But anyway, it's 90s. It's Clinton.
Yeah, it's Clinton. It's under Clinton, right?
Yeah.
From that to gay marriage and huge support for gay marriage. It was like 20 years.
Yes.
There's never been a faster acceptance of a minority group than that, like in that 20-year period. They just shot up the entire time, right? Now that is being...
Laws actually criminalising homosexuality were last struck down in 2002.
There you go.
It's a very quick, for that 13 years to Obergefell versus Hodges.
And we've long talked about the fact that, at least my theory of this, and not just mine, a lot of people's theory about this, is that is directly related to how many people knew openly gay people. That number increased rapidly over that period as well.
Yes, yeah.
And that one is related to the other.
Yeah.
And if we're seeing that kind of increase in knowledge of transgender people, you can expect, even though transgender is the cultural war issue of the moment, it won't be for long if those kinds of numbers are continuing on.
I agree, and I hope so.
So so I just want to throw that out there for those who might find some of the discourse a little depressing.
Yeah.
Just note
it's incredibly depressing, but that is a hopeful sign.
Yeah. An interesting one about political violence, and this might go to your sample thing, although this is a big sample. This is a big sample.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you the numbers, and then I'll tell you what the actual info is. Okay. This is from a respected study, which is the Chicago Project on Security and Threats.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
The way they work,
Yes.
I'm going to tell you why they work first because the numbers are small.
Yes. Okay.
The way they work is that they set up a probability panel of 50,000 American adults,
Right.
matched to the national population on a number of dozens of factors.
Yep.
A lot of factors. These 50,000 people, they're balanced, right?
Yes. Yep.
And then they take a random sample out of the 50,000
Okay.
of 3,500.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so that's a fair sample size.
That is, yes.
And it's from a balanced panel
Yes.
and there's by all kinds of measures,
Yep.
right? So that's a respectable
Yes,
state.
it is.
But here are the numbers.
Okay.
6.9%, so small number,
Yeah.
right? 6.9% say violence will be justified to restore Trump to the presidency. 11.6% say violence will be justified to prevent Trump from being president.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And that was a surprise, which is why I brought it to the table. Like, I'm just not sure whether I believe it because of the small numbers, but I mean, it is a respected poll and they do go through a proper process. But but it's interesting, the suggestion that there be more people. I mean, you'd think like there are more crazies to stop Trump than to promote Trump.
Yeah. I mean, my friend and colleague, well, not colleague, he's other people's colleagues, but he was my colleague in grad school, Nathan Kalmer, who does a lot of this, does a lot of research on political violence, has always said this is not the belief in the justification of political violence is not a monopoly of either side by any means.
And to be fair, these are both small numbers on both sides there.
Yes,
11.6% is still a small number,
Yes,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, just if
Yeah.
that is actually reflective of the population, that's still a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah, that's 30 million
Yes,
people
yeah,
who
yeah,
think
yeah.
political violence is.
And I
acceptable.
mean, and so those numbers, one of the reasons why that's interesting, where it's small, but it's there,
Yeah.
right? That's not a rounding error. That's that's not a statistical artifact. It's small, but it's there. That gives you an idea of the potential future of violence, because for all of the talk about civil war, the configuration of the United States at the moment and the long-standing professionalization of the United States military through the Department of Defense makes a civil war of the 19th century kind pretty unlikely, because you just cannot see the military splitting in that way, or it's very hard to see. What some civil war specialists have instead talked about is the possibility of low-level civil war. So something like the so-called Years of Lead in Italy, or perhaps more familiarly to English-speaking listeners, the Northern Ireland conflict, where you don't have, it's not massed armies fighting each other on a battlefield. It's assassinations.
Terrorism.
Terrorism, crime, things that can be pretty frightening, definitely. Although some would argue the US has been there before. So, I mean, one of the points that Rick Perlstein made endlessly in his books was political violence in the 1960s in the US was so bad that bombings were not front page news. And that this violence linked to polarization is not a new thing in the United States. You just look at the number of people who were killed for purely political reasons in America in the 60s. We're still not even there yet, as bad as things look.
That's encouraging.
Yes.
Yes. I said we wouldn't get there, but we have because of our choices. Ukraine.
Okay.
The poll, CNN poll, 55% said Congress should not approve additional funding to Ukraine. 45% supported more funding. That's the first time I've seen a majority.
That is the first time.
against
Yes.
funding.
Yep.
51% said the US had already done enough to support the Ukrainian effort. 48% said the US should do more. So it's still, it's still close to 50-50.
Yes, yeah.
But it's just moving in a certain direction.
Yes, yeah.
Of course, there is a partisan lean here.
Yes, of course.
71% of Republicans
Yeah,
oppose further assistance.
Yep.
62% of Democrats support further assistance.
Yes.
55% of independents oppose further assistance.
Yeah. Well, that would still be growth in opposition across all three categories.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I think that reflects, and I suppose one caveat on all these numbers would be this might not be something that people are thinking about that much. But I'd say the war going on now as long as it has. And also, if people are paying attention to it, they might be thinking, that like a lot of the news has been stalemate. Even though there is a counteroffensive going on at the moment, which is achieving some objectives, it's going very slowly. There's talk about it being disappointing. Yeah. The current front page of the Washington Post is U.S. intelligence says Ukraine is unlikely to achieve its objectives. It's been a long-standing pattern when you look at American support for war, and admittedly this is usually in the context of American troops actually being involved, that support deteriorates not just because of the bodies piling up, but when people perceive the war is not going well. Yeah. When people perceive objectives aren't being met, when people believe that the objectives aren't clear in the first place, when people think that America's morality is actually being compromised by the war. Now, we're probably not at point 4 yet, but those other things I can definitely imagine there are enough people across all of those political categories thinking, okay, there are no American lives involved, but a lot of American money, and this war seems to have reached this stalemate point. Why are we keeping it going?
Yep. Yeah, no, it does seem to be the case. And then the rubber's going to hit the road potentially soon because Biden's asking for $24 billion more emergency funding for Ukraine in the next appropriations bill, which is in the next month, I think. Yep. That's $13 billion for defense efforts, $11 billion for humanitarian aid and economic assistance. Yep. That could be the trigger for a shutdown. So I guess we'll see. Yeah. Just since a lot of these little polls were quite dark, I thought I'd just have a little positive thing at the end here, which is a Ukrainian toilet break, if you will. I've been told by one listener we should have more toilet breaks. We'll just play funny clips, because it's quite dense. Okay. This is very dense. This is not dense, what I'm about to play you.
Look, if we don't get toilet breaks, you don't get toilet breaks.
You could just press pause, Anyway, this is, I'm not sure if you've seen Ukraine's new defense spokesperson. She offers, she's an American, she's transgender, and she offers helpful information about, she's, quote, supposed to objectively cover the events of the Russian-Ukrainian war, according to the Deputy Defense Minister. I want you to see her objective coverage of the event. See how objective you feel it is. Okay. This is from her show, Ukraine in the Know.
If you look at Putin's mouth, you'll notice that blood drips from it. He's a vampire, carrying out genocide against both Ukrainians and Russians alike. Vlad Putin bathes in the blood of innocent children and enjoys it. And this is why the dictator of the Russian Federation must be deposed, and why peace talks have to be focused on President Zelensky's 10-point peace formula and the full liberation of Ukraine.
I'm not sure I'd call her objective. I don't know what you reckon.
I don't know what to say.
Do you feel like you're in the know after that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. And I will look more closely for that blood
next time you see it.
Next time. But to make a serious point, I am against the use of those kinds of metaphors for anybody because of the fact that transforming something into cartoonish evil, as opposed to seeing the human processes of that lead to this kind of death and destruction, is just analytically bad. And it ultimately distracts from the real evil that is in the world.
I think
you've got to understand how you actually get there through human processes.
I think it's fair to say that her analysis was analytically bad.
Yes.
I think it's fair to say. Okay, just go 5-10 minutes left. We can talk about the debates coming up because the debates are this week.
Yeah.
The first debates this week.
I mean, we still don't know whether Trump will be involved, right? But it doesn't seem that likely.
No. I mean, for one, he's refusing to sign the pledge. He's supposed to sign this pledge. There's a pledge to, I think I got the notes here. It's Ronna McDaniel said everybody has to sign a Beat Biden pledge. It's across the board. The rules aren't changing. We've been very vocal with them, and there needs intent as well, she said. It's not just the pledge, not just a piece of paper. Intent's going to be part of it too. The debate committee is going to meet. They don't want somebody saying, I'm blatantly lying. You have to say, I'm going to support the nominee, whomever the voters choose, and you have to mean it. Trump has flat out said, I'm not signing the pledge.
I was going to say, did she put that in because she didn't want Trump in the debate?
Yeah. He's just flat out said, I'm just not signing it. He said, they want you to sign a pledge, but I can name 3 or 4 people I would not support for president. Right there, that's a problem.
Yeah.
They had one in 2015, and Trump didn't sign it till the end of 2015.
Yeah.
And he did like 3 debates.
Oh, yeah, because I remember the very first debate of 2015. Like, it was the first thing that anyone said was Rand Paul blustering, like, can everyone here on the stage raise their hand if they have signed the pledge to support the Republican candidate? Yeah. And Trump did not. And that, like, from that moment onwards, every debate was about Trump. Every contest was about Trump. So, I mean, this is why people don't like to think about Rand Paul.
It's his fault.
Because he does, well, not just because this is his fault, but generally every time he opens his mouth, it is not to his credit. Yeah.
Well, I think it's to Ron DeSantis' credit. That's a nice smooth segue. That he one of the very few times he's sounded quite confident when standing up against Trump.
Yes.
It's been on this actual issue.
Yes,
he had a bit to say about that.
Have you signed the pledge yet? I did. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, you're going to go and participate and then say you might not support somebody else against Biden. I mean, you can't on the one hand say that the country's going in such a bad direction, which we all believe, and then on the other hand say you're just going to take your ball and go home. Really?
Yeah, so that sounds almost like a criticism. It's just amazing. And, it's just shocked my whole system. But anyway, do you have a view on whether Trump should be going to the debates or not?
Oh, why are we talking about should in this case?
That's
I mean, after 2020, I was in favour of abolishing debates altogether, and I don't think I've really changed that position. Yeah. So, the answer is whatever he can do to hasten the demise of the debate as an institution. I don't know whether that's going or staying away. By the way, speaking of DeSantis, just before I came here, I was looking at the Washington Post, and there's an article by Ben Terrace saying DeSantis has emerged as the candidate of awkward Americans. And he's got all of these interviews with Americans who are self-avowedly socially awkward.
Yes.
And are like, I recognize myself in DeSantis.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he asks all of them, so are you going to vote for him? They're like, no.
It's too awkward.
Yeah. But I can really see myself telling some kid that there's too much sugar in his slushie. Yeah.
It's actually, while we're on DeSantis, it actually, I think this debate's important for him. I really do.
Oh, of course it is.
No, but really, 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 like more important than anyone else.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, sure. Doug Burgum ain't going anywhere unless he has a huge debate. But,
I keep forgetting about his existence.
Do you know how he got there? You might be wondering, how is he in the debate? Like, do you know how he qualified?
No.
Because there's all these qualifications.
Yeah.
Like you need 1% polling.
Yeah.
You need to have 40,000 donors, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He, let's see, I've got it written down here. He gave out $20 Visa and MasterCard gift cards in exchange for $1 donations.
Full class.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how he got to the 40,000 donor mark.
This is actually useful to me because I wasn't. Yeah. So who is in? So it's DeSantis. I assume Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yes.
Is who is narrowing the gap with DeSantis to the extent that it exists.
Well, I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah. Tim Scott.
Nikki Haley.
Mike Pence got there in the end.
Mike Pence did get there.
And I should say, like, a lot of people are going, oh, man, Mike Pence is screwed. It took him so long to get to the first debate. But the Mike Pence campaign did make, I think, a fair point.
Yes.
That Pence got in way after everyone else.
Yes, yeah.
Like, he got in late, right? So if you look at the number of weeks it took to have the number of donors, Like he was, he
point.
said they got there in 9 weeks, the 40,000 donor
point.
mark.
Yep.
Nikki Haley took 21 weeks. Tim Scott took 13 weeks.
Yes.
So like that's a fair point.
So Chris Christie didn't get there.
No, Chris Christie's there.
Chris Christie's
there.
Asa Hutchinson,
I don't think he's there.
the mayor of Miami.
No, he's not there.
Yeah.
And he said if you can't make a debate, you should drop out. So I'm not sure he's going to be president. Yeah, I don't know for a fact that Asa Hutchinson didn't get there. I don't think he got there though.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he got there.
Oh, despite the Washington Post saying Americans should take him seriously.
It's a real shame. But Doug Burgum definitely got there.
Okay.
With his scheme.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was going to say that I think this is important, like more important for DeSantis than anyone else.
Yes.
Because he's really becoming very. You've made this comparison yourself before.
Yes. Yeah.
He's becoming very reminiscent of Scott Walker.
Yes. Yep.
Like just like
Yes.
the governor who played hardball
Yes.
in his state.
Yeah.
Kind of no charisma, a bit of a robot.
Yeah.
Like but just
But
crushed
appeared
his
to tick
opponent's
every
skulls.
box, but actually
Totally.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Started off polling really well, had the Koch brothers behind him
Yes,
and
yeah,
donors
yeah.
behind him.
Media. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Started off polling really well and then ran into the Trump iceberg
Yes,
in
yeah.
2016.
Yeah.
Started going down. Scott Walker was down to 11% by the time the first debate
Yes,
came along.
yeah.
DeSantis is what 12 or 13%, basically
yeah.
the same level. Scott Walker had a shit first debate.
Yep.
He went from 11 points to 5 points after the debate.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yes.
And DeSantis is in exactly the same position.
Yes.
But let's just add to that
Yes.
that I've now heard from 3 different strategists, including Nikki Haley's campaign manager,
Yep.
that everyone is expecting everyone to attack DeSantis
course.
at the debate,
Yes.
not Trump.
Yes.
Right? DeSantis, you might think, well, at least he'll go for Trump.
Yeah.
No, apparently he's going for Ramaswamy.
Yes.
Because Ramaswamy's been catching up on him.
Yes. This was this document posted by the Super PAC.
Yeah.
They actually posted this detailed document, the strategy document. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a leak. They just posted it on their fucking website of what Ron DeSantis is supposed to do during the debate. And it includes defend Trump in absentia
Yes.
from Chris Christie's attacks.
That would look so piss weak if he does that.
Yeah.
It really will.
Oh, my God. Yes. And attack Ramaswamy.
Yeah.
What were they trying to achieve by putting this document up there?
I don't know. I don't
Just
know.
like we've collected all this money, which, let's face it, is never going to be used for any useful purpose.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's just post this.
I don't even have a joke. I've got nothing.
yeah,
it just blows my mind. It's the first time I've heard about this. I'm a few days behind.
Oh, of course you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
But because I've just been focused on the indictment, as you could tell by the first half of the show.
Yes.
But so I got no reaction. I don't understand.
No.
But anyway, so he's got a real chance of coming off terribly in this debate, being attacked constantly,
Yep.
and not even attacking the guy who's meant to be going after.
No.
So this is a big debate for DeSantis, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying it's make or break. It's nothing or break. It's just like it's either neutral or break.
Yeah.
There's no upside for him, but there's a lot of
Yes.
downside.
Yep.
So I just flagged that. And as for Trump, I just want to say one thing about. I know that you're a sworn enemy of all debates.
Yes.
And we've obviously had this debate about
Yes.
debates before.
Yeah.
I like debates, but even me as Mr. Debate, I've got no problems with Trump not attending
Yeah.
because the whole point of a debate, apart from the stupid entertainment value,
Yes.
to the extent that it's entertaining,
Yeah.
is you're meant to learn about your candidates.
Yes.
There is nothing we need to learn about Trump.
No.
He's been the president. We know all there is to know about this man.
Yes, yeah.
Right. We're learning nothing from this debate.
Yeah.
Right. So I just don't think it matters at all. Like he's only entertainment value. And in fact, I kind of like him disappearing so the other guys have a chance to potentially have some airtime. Yeah. Otherwise it's just all about him and indictments.
Yes.
So anyway, so I don't really even care
Yeah.
about Trump in this debate.
Yeah.
But this is a huge one for DeSantis. Do you have any other thoughts about the debate?
No.
I think we're there, mate.
I think we're done.
All I would say,
Yes.
given that this is a big debate for DeSantis and I'm trying to play some fun clips, is DeSantis up on the debate, he'll want to do better than this.
As president, I recognize that The woke mind virus represents a war on the truth, so we will wage a war on the woke. We will fight the woke in education. We will fight the woke in the corporations. We will fight the woke in the halls of Congress. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. We will make woke ideology, leave it to the dustbin of history. It's gone.
Yeah, it's in the dustbin of history because as a term, it's got about 2 years of shelf life left before it goes the same way as cancel culture and, political correctness gone mad.
To be fair to DeSantis.
Yes.
He has improved since then. To be fair. Anyway, we've had a good run.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dave.
My pleasure.
I will see you next week, and then I think we got a Melina one on the Monday after that. So,
Okay.
so there's lots of catching up coming.
Awesome.
Stay peppy. Bye-bye.